Here's what's coming up on today's show.
And that's what we do is put together a plan based on, different factors as far as the way the stock and bond market are going to perform, et cetera, interest rates, all these different things, political environments, all these different things are taken into account.
Hello, this is Mark Silverman, managing member and founder of Silverman & Associates, and I'm also a certified financial planner professional. I want to welcome you to the Saving with Silverman podcast. I'm glad you're here. Each week, we'll discuss different financial planning topics because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life.
Now let's talk about some folks who decide to work longer than, the traditional retirement age. Used to be like, you turn 65, you retire, and then you die a couple of years later,
Exactly.
if you're lucky enough to live that long. But a recent study showed that 19% of Americans over the age of 65 are still working. That percentage is twice as high as it was 30 years ago. So today, let's explore some of the reasons behind that. And I know that you probably have clients that fit into each one of these scenarios that I'm going to lay out here. But there are some people who delay retirement. They don't retire because they absolutely love their jobs, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised that number is not higher. I think more and more people are working later. But we also, I think one of the things you didn't mention is people are also living longer. Mm-hmm. So if you live longer, working longer only makes sense. And, if you're going to die in your late 60s versus dying in your late 80s, early 90s, you need to pay for that. So living longer means you need to work longer typically, unless you do a great job of saving. But, loving the job, I fit into that category myself. I don't ever see myself fully actually retiring.
Yeah.
I've got great clients. I love what I do. And as long as I'm mentally able to do what I keep doing, I don't see myself fully walking away ever. But I think a lot of people are like that. People like their job. They enjoy it. They may want to slow down. There's nothing wrong with that. But fully walking away, there's nothing, certainly wrong with doing that. Or, some people will retire and do something different or whatever it might be. But no problem of loving your job and not walking away fully if you enjoy it.
And I'm going to say, in following that up, we're talking about, people living longer, but that requires, that's good news. And the bad news is that people are living longer because that requires a whole lot more preparation and planning.
It does, especially, if you look at what healthcare costs are, nursing homes and stuff like that, which you got to pay for. Those costs keep escalating even more so than the inflation rate.
Another reason that you might end up working longer than you had originally planned is you may get divorced rather late in life, and that can really shake things up and give you a requirement to have more money for your retirement.
Absolutely. We've seen that where people have been married for, and I'm divorced. As many know. But a lot of people who've been married for a long time end up, parting ways, or they drift apart, whatever the reason is, and get a divorce late in life, and then, their assets are cut in half, and they don't have what they thought they were going to have, so they need to continue working, and we have clients that definitely fit into that realm as well.
Some folks stay in the job and delay retiring because they're simply waiting for Social Security full retirement age. Take a moment and explain that, if you would. What exactly is full retirement age?
So it's going to depend on what year you were born. So for most people now, it's somewhere between age 66 and 67, the max being 67. That will probably change at some point too. But full retirement age now for most people, the latest would be 67. But what you also have to keep in mind, too, when we do planning, we have software that we run and we try to maximize Social Security. And I've talked about this before because for some, including myself, it's the only pension we really have. Mm-hmm. And for each year, you defer Social Security up until age 70. So 70 is when you want to take it, is the max that you want to turn it on no matter what. It grows at 8% compounded per year. And the only place you get 8% compounded is through the government. There's no annuity, despite what a lot of these radio ads say and all this stuff where they're going to give you this bonus and that bonus, which are pie in the sky, not real numbers. Don't fall for that. The only place that you get that is through the government. So if you have other assets and you retire and you can pull from the other accounts, we typically will recommend, depending on your life expectancy, taking it at 70 because you're going to get more bang for your buck and get a higher payout over your life expectancy.
Lots of reasons for folks working longer these days. Maybe you just love your job. Maybe you got divorced late in life, and that's certainly going to affect you financially. Maybe you're waiting for full retirement age when it comes to Social Security. We're going to tell you some more reasons that people work longer these days in just a moment, but I want to remind everybody of the way to get in touch with you for a conversation, 520-333-7601. That number is for Silverman and Associates. You can talk with Mark Silverman about your situation. It's a complimentary 20-minute introductory call. Again, 520-333-7601. You know, some people, especially guys, I'm going to say, and I'm not being, sexist here. I don't think. I mean, I think this is really true for a lot of men. Their whole personal identity is wrapped up in their jobs and what they've done for a living for a long time. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, and I probably fall victim to this category as well. You know, being a certified financial planner and planning, I am been accused, especially by my girlfriend, of being a big planner as far as, making plans to go do things and always trying to think one step ahead and plan and think about what the outcomes are going to be. So, planning is what I do, and that's who I am. And so I think for a lot of people, their job, their career, what they've done in their life, is kind of part of their identity. Doesn't mean that's all you are, but certainly, if you're true to yourself and that's what you're doing and that's your true calling, it's going to affect your personal life as well as your professional life.
Yeah, that's for sure. Hey, one of the main reasons that people live or work longer than they may have originally planned or thought that they would is they just haven't saved enough, and they're still out there in the workplace trying to make money to make sure that they can have a good retirement.
Yeah, if we had to rank these, that's probably the biggest one. And then there's no magic number. Some people will, call in from the or text us and say, hey, I've saved $1 million. Is that enough?
Yeah.
It just depends. I mean, it depends on what age, what's your life expectancy, what age are you retiring, how much you spend. That's a big one because not everybody spends the same.
Yeah.
I've always said the more you make, the more you spend because it's called lifestyle creep. You get a certain amount of money that you're making and you're spending a certain amount in your lifestyle. And you typically, when you retire, want to keep that same lifestyle that you're accustomed to, right or wrong. And so it's understanding that. And so that's one of the biggest things we do as far as planning is coming up with what your number is, because what your friend's number, your neighbor's number, whatever they're telling you it is, your number is going to be different because everybody's situation is different. So that's why it's important that just sit down with somebody like us to have us put together a comprehensive plan where we can look and see how much are you spending, what age are you looking to retire, what's your life expectancy, all these different factors, what do you want to do in retirement, let's setting goals and that sort of thing. And then we can come up with an exact number of how much you need to save based on all these different factors to tell you if and when you do retire, you're going to have enough that you're not going to run out of money and you're going to be able to do all the things that you want to do.
The last reason for working longer that I wanted to mention here, Mark, is the fear of the unknown. A lot of people are really hesitant to enter into that next phase of their life and stop doing what they're doing and go into retirement because they really don't know exactly what it's going to be like.
The known is always the unknown, right? We always know that everything's going to be unknown. People, this year it's an election year, but we don't know what's going to happen. Well, when have we ever started an election year and know what's going to happen?
Exactly.
We don't.
Yeah.
So it's always unknown. We never know what the market's going to do. The markets may start one way and end another, or vice versa. And so we never know. So we always have to plan for what can and may happen. And so that's part of the process of financial planning. So, it's scary to have the unknown, but everything's always unknown. We never know what the future is going to hold. So you've got to take the good with the bad and plan for the good and the bad as well. And so that no matter what happens, you're going to have a plan that's going to be sustainable no matter what the markets do. And that's what we do is put together a plan based on, different factors as far as the way the stock and bond market are going to perform, et cetera, interest rates, all these different things, political environments, all these different things are taken into account. And you have a plan that's going to withstand that, knowing that we don't know what's going to happen. And that's really what it's about.
I'm sure that there are people out there listening to the sound of your voice today who are saying, hey, I'm finally going to get around to calling Mark Silverman's office and arranging to have a conversation. What happens the very first time you talk to somebody?
There's no cost, there's no obligation. I mean, really what it is you're going to call, you're going to leave a message, or whether you text, we'll reach out to you on Monday, assuming it's not a holiday. Christine, who works with me, will reach out to you, get you on my calendar, and we'll have a conversation. I'll answer any questions that you have, any financial questions that are related to, things that might be going on with your life. If we decide that we're a good fit, we'll talk later about steps about how maybe taking it to the next step, or if you just have some questions that you need some information from, I'll do my best to point you in the right direction and give you that information that you need. Now is a great time. I mean, we're already, a quarter or third through the year, however you want to look at it. With that being said, it's, tax time. And so a lot of people have their financial documents in order. So now is a great time to get together, because if we do a comprehensive financial plan, we're going to collect all your financial data. And it makes it a lot easier when you have all that data already gathered together for your CPA or tax person.
You've been listening to the Saving with Silverman podcast. If you have any questions at all about your financial situation, please give Mark Silverman a call. Again, his number is 520-333-7601, or go online to savingwithsilverman.com. For Mark Silverman, I'm Ron Stutz. We'll see you next time on the Saving with Silverman podcast.
The Saving with Silverman podcast is brought to you by Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, based in Tucson, Arizona. The show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show on your favorite app today and never miss an episode. Just search for Saving with Silverman to find us, or visit savingwithsilverman.com to listen to past episodes, to contact Mark, and to learn more about how to make smarter decisions with your money.
Did you know that Mark Silverman also has a radio show? Tune in to Saving with Silverman Saturdays and Sundays at 3 p.m. on AM 790 KNST.
All matters discussed on this show are for informational purposes only. Opinions expressed are solely those of Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, and staff. All topics covered are believed to be from reliable sources. However, Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC makes no representation as to its accuracy or completeness. This show shall in no way be construed as a solicitation to sell securities or investment advisory services to residents of any state other than Arizona or where otherwise permitted. Topics should be discussed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Fee-based financial planning and investment advisory services offered through Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Arizona. Insurance products and services are offered through Silverman & Associates, an affiliated company.